Hello, and welcome back to yet another interview here at Maeya TV. I am Nina Childs, and I am here today with a man who has over 40 years career in the entertainment industry as an actor, producer, and director. Everybody, please help me in welcoming Larry Butler to the show. Welcome, Larry.
Hi, thank you. It's actually G Larry Butler because there's other Larry Butlers in the industry and they keep stealing my credits. So I had to put the G there. It's, my first name is George, so but anyway, it's something that everybody knows me by now. It's G Larry Butler. You don't have to call me that. Just Larry is fine. But for my stage name, it's G Larry Butler. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You learn something new every day.
If you go by Larry Butler, you'll find somebody else's credits altogether.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
I felt like I saw you IMDb as Larry Butler.
No, it's not.
It's G?
You looked up the wrong one.
Oh, no.
It's G Larry Butler.
Well, there you go. Well, you would know your name, right?
Yeah, you can Google it too. It's on G. If you Google G Larry Butler, there's 15 things that come up, and somebody's done a lot of work on me, and I don't know who did it, but I never had a chance to thank them.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Well, that's very cool. Well, I always like to start with allowing the guests to introduce themselves to our international community and just give us some information on who they are and where they're from. Where are you from originally?
Actually, that's a strange story in and of itself. I always thought I was from Calistoga, California. It's in northern California in the Napa Valley. But then I looked at my birth certificate and it says Sanitarium. There's a little town called Sanitarium just above Calistoga, and it used to be a place for the mentally ill. And then it became a regular hospital. So I was born to be an actor because there was a place for mentally ill people.
But the town was called Sanitarium?
Yes.
And it had a sanitarium
in the town. It was named
town.
after the hospital. It was a sanitarium. They went, and it became like a drunk tank. You know, people went to dry out. And so it's several things, but all pertaining to mental illness.
Oh, wow.
And so then I was born there right afterwards. So anyway, it's just, I told everybody that the other night and they all laughed. They thought it was funny because, you know, a lot of actors are a little crazy. You have to be in this business.
True.
So it's appropriate. I was born to be an actor.
Well, you know what? That's a great segue into my next question because I did want to ask you how you fell into acting. When did you start?
Wow, that was, I actually almost really did fall into it. I was working in a salvage yard up in Denver, Colorado, and the year was around 1984, and I was pretty comedic. You know, I made people laugh very easily, and they said, "My God, you should be a stand-up comic." And I thought, well, I don't know how to do that. Well, they pointed me in the right direction. I became a stand-up comedian, and then somebody said, "You need an agent," and I thought, "What's that?" So I was that green. I was that innocent. I didn't even know what an agent was. But I went to an agent. They signed me, and immediately I started getting work. I started with commercials, and then I became a big print actor. Now, a lot of people don't even know what print is, but in the old days, you do magazines, you do newspapers, you do billboards, and I was an international print model. I do it for different countries. So, I mean, I'd see myself on the, you know, big billboards and stuff and magazines and all kinds of things. And I did a lot of work that way. I have a book that's this thick of my print ads and stuff. And then the year was around 1986, 1985. A movie called The Women's Club came to town by Warner Brothers. And so to make a long story short, I was cast, and there was 4 of us. I was a co-star in the first movie I ever did, practically. And so it was starred Maud Adams. She was in Octopussy, and then Marco Pere, who was in Streets of Fire, and Eddie Velez, who was in A-Team, and then myself. So the 3 of us. That's the 4 of us, and that's how I started. And in 1988, I came to Hollywood, the end of '88, and so started working right away with film artists. That was my first agent. And so I got work immediately there too because I was so frustrated and confused with all the traffic and the freeways. And I came to one audition for, I think it was some serial, like some popular serial, and they cast me right away. And it's because I was so confused. They called my agent. They said, "We want him Friday." Oh, you mean for callbacks? No, we want him. For the commercial, I get cast on the first read, practically, everything I do, because I'm so crazy. But anyway, that's the way this show business works. Sometimes,
And that's how you got your start.
yeah, that's how I got my start in the business, and then I started doing guest star stuff and stuff like Arrest and Trial was a big show back then, and Beetleborgs. I guest starred. Beetleborgs Metallics, and several other ones. There's a lot of them.
Well, that's getting to some of my favorites because I was able to go over your IMDb. It's very impressive, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
40-year career, you've done a lot of work, and now you're actually wearing some of the colors from one of my favorite teams, and you've actually worked on a show that I love that's about the best sports franchise in American history, in my personal opinion. You did Winning Time.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Which went 3 seasons on HBO Max, and you got to play John...
I got to play Johnny Most.
Johnny Most.
And the guy that talks like this, got a whiskey voice, chain smoker, yeah, that's the guy. Everybody thinks I'm the jerk, but they're the real jerks. So anyway, my agent called me right after I did the first read, and she said, "Are you sitting down? You got cast on the first read by Maxine Mosley, the biggest casting director in town." I thought, oh my God, I had to sit down on that one. But I loved it. We did it for 2 years until they canceled the show because Warner Brothers bought HBO out, and they went in a different direction. So
there's a really fun fact about this show. There was a gentleman who played on the Lakers. I think his name was Norm Lewis. He's portrayed in the show. He was married to Debbie Allen. Okay. His son plays him in the show.
Ah.
Yeah.
Was he John? Which one did he play?
He plays his dad, Norm.
He played his dad.
Yeah, I don't know if his name was Norm Nixon, or I think his name was Norm Nixon. He's one of the players from the 80s. But he plays his dad on the show because he's an actor.
Hey, I didn't meet him for some reason, but there were so many from both sides, the Celtics
and John C.
and the Lakers.
Reilly stars in that one.
Yeah.
Right? And he's started out as a comedic actor as well, but he's an incredible dramatic actor. And that show really showcased that for him.
That's true.
And I was very happy to see that, and I love that show. So that was really cool. And you also got to do work on the Julia Roberts series, Gaslit.
Yes, that's another surprise.
Yeah.
I got cast with Julia Roberts, and she was executive producer on something called Gaslit, which is all about the Nixon years when they burglarized the place, and Martha Mitchell had the biggest mouth in town. She was married to John Mitchell, who was one of the chief aides to President Nixon. They locked her up to keep her from talking. So Julia played Martha, and she was excellent in that role.
She was very excellent in
superb.
the series.
So I got to play the doctor. Martha burns her hand because they have her locked up, and to get word out to everybody. And so they bring a doctor in to examine a hand, and she whispers to me, they're locking me up. They cut the line on my phone. And they didn't have cell phones back then. And so I said, well, a lot of women your age suffer from delusions. You'll get over it. And she looks at me like, oh, you're one of them. So,
and he was definitely one of them. Yeah, the scene definitely sent chills up my spine. I'm like talking to this nice man, and you're playing this crazy creep doctor.
I love playing the opposite of what I really am in real life.
Yeah, and you've played a lot of roles. So I saw on your IMDb that you have 38 projects in the can. What is the favorite thing that you've done thus far that you have coming out, if you could talk about it?
38 in the can? You mean that I've already done?
That you've already done that are coming out.
They haven't been out yet.
Haven't been put out yet.
I have over 300 actually that are finished, that are out, distributed. But I have stuff coming out. I work with the Mahal brothers, and they've done a lot of extremely wonderful projects. And one of them is called Alien Horde, who I act with Vernon Wells from The Road Warrior, Mel Gibson's classics in Australia. And so we've done over 3 movies together. And I work with another man from Hunt from Red October. You're probably familiar with him. It's a Russian fellow. And he came over to me and he said, you're a great actor. I'm like, whoa, he knocked me over with a feather. And, I was with Jimmy Duvall from Donnie Darko. And he also said the same thing. I really admire your work. Because I use real emotion. Like, a lot of actors will just say their lines, and they don't really feel it. You can tell. Turn the sound off on your TV sometime, and see if you're convinced that they're really feeling it, then you'll know it. Otherwise, it's just words. So, but I really feel it, and I bring my A game every time, 100%. And so a lot of people, especially younger people, they can't dig deep enough because everybody would make fun of them if they felt something. They have that stone face in high school, like you don't want to express because people will tease you. So they don't understand how to do it. So the older actors to some degree do, but I always give it all, my all. I have so much trauma inside from past trauma, and that I can dig down and bring it out, and joy as well. So it's easier for me to get to it.
And sometimes it's just a matter of training. Have you trained a lot through the years?
But you're either an actor or you're not. That's kind of like, I don't want to say anything about the industry, but it's just like polishing a diamond. If you got the diamond inside of it, you need a little, but you don't need to take acting lessons forever, for life. And some people are obsessed with it. And they think they have to do that forever, like going to a psychiatrist for the rest of your life. You don't need it. You get your training on set. And so, anyway, that's all I want to say about it.
Okay.
You get in trouble with anybody.
All right. He's like, don't go to school, kids. You don't need it. Just get out there and work. Right. No, he's not saying that. So that's really interesting. And so let's talk about your breakthrough role and the audition that you have for that role, because we talked a little bit about that off camera. I thought that was a very interesting story to share with our viewers.
About the Hollywood breakthrough?
Yeah, the Hollywood breakthrough.
Yeah, well, I used to watch a guy named John Madden, I believe. He was a sportscaster.
Yeah.
A very animated personality. He'd throw his script up in the air. And I thought, that's a great idea to get the casting director's attention. Because you go in the room and they're eating lunch and they're looking down and they don't even look up. I'm like, that really angered me. And I think, why? You can't even tell what I'm doing. He said, we watch the tape later. We don't really need to watch you. So anyway, I thought, I'm going to get your attention. I'm going to make you look at me. So I throw my script up in the air and like, they look up and it's like, and I got the job. I got the Ford national spokesman for the car company for a whole year out of Denver. Nobody does that. And then later I brought it to Hollywood, and I saw this ad for somebody who looks like Jackie Gleason and acts like Jackie Gleason. And so I decided to do the same thing. And the casting director happened to be the director, who was sitting back in his folding chair, leaning back on two legs. This is probably not a good idea when you're in a room with me. And I threw my script up in the air and knew the script by heart. And he fell over in his chair on the floor, laughing hysterically. And I went to pick him up, and he said, "You're the funniest son of a gun I've ever seen in my life. I've got 2 guys coming for callbacks tomorrow, but the hell with them. You got the job." Just like that. I did 40 projects with that man. It was my breakthrough role in Hollywood.
So, what was the film?
It was called The Women's Club.
No,
that was the one from Denver, excuse me. This was called Double D Avenger. And it was a spoof on Wonder Woman. She fights crime in a very unusual way. And I won't get into that right now.
But we can tell from the title.
Yeah, Double D. So anyway, it's very funny. It's hysterically funny. It's a comedy. And right now you can see it for free on the William Winkler channel on YouTube. And it's got almost 4 million views in a little over a year. And everybody's talking about it because you can't make a movie like that now, today. They wouldn't allow it. But we did it back in 2000 and it became a hit. It's a classic. It's surpassing the one I told you. What was that? A Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
It's doing even better business than they are, and they've been around forever.
Yeah, since the 70s.
So this is a cult classic, a real cult classic, and check it out. It's free.
Definitely stream that on YouTube, guys.
Yeah,
and now, with 40 years in the business, what is some advice that you would give to a young actor that's just starting?
Oh, for one, always go into the room as the character. Don't come in a room as like, "Hi, I'm G Larry Bulter. I'm gonna do, some," and then I go into the thing where, I pretend like I'm something else. No, they see me coming in as this, like, he could never do that part, even though I could, but they don't believe it because I came in as, it's like kind of a vanilla personality, like, "Hi." Don't do that. Come in as a character. Hi, how you doing? The first time I tried that, I got the job. I played in as a tough detective. I came in as that detective. I was friendly, but I was firm and I was kind of mean at the same time. And then never leave the room with your tail between their legs. Don't crawl out of the room. Some people, you can see, they rush out of the room. They can't get out of the room fast enough because they're scared. They're nervous. Saunter out of that room. You own it. You're doing them a favor just for looking at you. They're not doing you a favor. You're doing them a favor. So that's my advice. And that'll get you something every time. Did I tell you something else besides that?
No, that was just one of my one-off
That's just
questions
one
I
of
had.
many. Also, to you directors out there, when you have craft services, don't put any sugar in your stuff. Don't have pretzels and chips and sugary stuff because that robs the memory from your actors. So you want to give them protein, eggs, nuts, meat, anything with protein in it. And if your actor, for some reason, doesn't know his lines, he probably does, but he's nervous, and nervousness will rob your mind of the adrenaline. The adrenaline from the nervousness will rob your memory. Feed him some protein, he'll snap right out of it every time. So that's another thing. Feed your actors. Don't yell at them. Don't say, you can't remember anything, So just give them the protein and they'll be fine. And I learned that during doing theatrical productions, like on stage. I used to walk the boards a little bit before I became a film actor. And so they would put peanuts in our pocket or some kind of nuts. So before you went out, you get the little nerves, the butterflies, eat some nuts. And it smooths it right out.
And that's it.
Calms you down.
Have you ever done any acting teaching?
Yes. I taught for quite a while, actually.
Okay.
I do the summers for a teacher who did it through the rest of the year. She'd take the summer off.
Mm-hmm.
I worked for LAUSD as a teacher for mostly older adults, but I also taught acting during the summer. And they liked me better than the other teacher.
Oh, wow.
But I wasn't allowed to say that. But
You're saying it now.
Oh, well, it's too late now. I doubt if she's going to watch it. But anyway, so that's another thing. I would always tell them, never fake your acting. Okay. Feel it. Don't fake it. Mm-hmm. If you're going to be angry, be angry. And when I do that with other actors and they're not prepared for that, they're like,
they jump out of their skin.
Because they're prepared for like, I'm angry. No, I'm angry. And so always use from the gut, from the diaphragm. Bring it out. All your inner fury, all your frustration from high school and the bullies that tormented you. So it works.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one. And now, we already talked about some advice that you would give young actors. We talked about some training and things that you've done. I did want to ask you, I think we haven't gone here yet, out of all the projects that you have that are coming out, what is your favorite? I didn't really get that from you. Yeah,
about to come out?
Yeah.
Alien Horde. That's a good one. It's a science fiction. Another one called Cursed Waters. That's a naval versus pirate movie. And Bikers versus Werewolves. That's a pretty good one.
Oh,
and
a ton of them.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
But
can't really name one.
Oh, I have to do one?
Well, I just wanted to know your favorite, but if you got more than one, that's...
Probably Cursed Waters, because I have a really big part, and it's throughout the whole 2-week period.
The bigger the part, the more you enjoy it, right?
Yeah. And everybody was playing mean, like I was part of the naval attachment against the pirates. And everybody was like, I went the other way because I wanted to be noticed. So another word of advice to young actors, go the opposite way. Swim against the stream. Got to be noticed. So I was the nervous one. Like, I was scared of every bush and tree that we were passing through. Everybody else was like, yeah, I got the pirate. I'm like, and so I stood out. And they loved it. And I came up with it on my own. So always try to do something different than everybody else.
That's great. So. Well, what about a dream collaboration? Like, who is someone that you would love to work with?
Oh, jeez.
Anthony
Hopkins, one of my favorites. That man could do no wrong.
Yeah.
He is amazing. I've seen almost all of his movies. And as a younger actor, Austin Butler, my cousin.
That's your cousin?
Yeah. Bernard Butler, my cousin. I say that because everybody that's a butler is a cousin. We started with one family in Kilkenny, Ireland, and we were the butlers of Ireland. A butt was a huge sack of wine.
You kind of look like an older Austin Butler. This is the guy that played Elvis, by the way, for those of us
We're
that
all
don't know.
genetically linked.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
so-
really, really cool. Well, where can we find you? G Larry Butler.
I'll be down the street. Just take a left and then a right. You got it.
Can we find you online?
Google my name,
Okay.
G Larry Butler. I believe it. It'll take you to every link there is. It's very
Awesome.
easy.
Awesome,
So-
awesome. Well, thanks for joining us again today, G
Oh,
Larry
My
Butler.
pleasure.
A wealth of information and a wonderful career. Congratulations on that.
It's been a thrill. Quite a ride.
All right, and thank you all out there for joining us as well. We've got a few more interviews coming, so sit tight, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Ta-ta.
Yeah, that's great. I think I'm going to go home tonight and stream the horror series that you did.
Okay.